Let's talk about a huge legal fight brewing in the world of real estate. We've got a major brokerage, Compass, going head-to-head with a powerful listing service, the NWMLS. And believe me, the stakes are incredibly high. But here's why you should care. This isn't just some corporate squabble. The outcome here could actually change the fundamental rules of how you, me, and everyone else buys or sells a home. So yeah, we need to dig into this. So, what's the big update? Well, a federal judge just gave this whole thing a massive green light. NWMLS tried to get the case thrown out, but the judge said, nope. That means the fight is officially on, and we are heading for a full-blown trial. Okay, so to really get what's going on here, you need to know who's in the ring. In one corner, you've got Compass, the big tech-savvy brokerage. Let's call them the innovator. And in the other corner, you have the Northwest MLS, who controls the flow of information. They're the gatekeeper. Let's break this down a bit more. Compass is this huge modern brokerage that's always trying new things with marketing. The NWMLS, on the other hand, is the multiple listing service for the Northwest. Think of it as the central nervous system for real estate listings. They make the rules. But here's the real kicker, the detail that changes everything. The NWMLS is independent. It's not part of the National Association of Realtors, which means it doesn't have to play by their rules. And that one little fact, it's at the heart of this entire fight.
So what's this all about? Well, it all boils down to one single rule about when an agent is allowed to start marketing a property to the public.
See, the National Association of Realtors, which governs most of the country, has a policy with a little loophole. It's called an office exclusive, and it lets agents market a home privately for a while before putting it on the main public system. But the NWMLS, whoa, they play by a totally different, much stricter playbook. Their rule says if you're going to market a listing publicly at all, it has to go on the MLS for everybody to see right then and there. No delays, no exceptions. And this is exactly where Compass's strategy hits a wall. They want to do things like a big coming soon campaign on a popular site like Redfin. You can see why a seller would love this, right? It builds hype, lets you test the price, and you can line up a bunch of showings, all without starting that dreaded days on market clock ticking. But under the NWMLS's strict rules, that's totally forbidden. And hey, the penalty for breaking this rule, it's not just a slap on the wrist. NWMLS can hit brokers with a $5,000 fine for every single time they break it. For a company as big as Compass, doing this across thousands of listings, well, you can do the math. It adds up fast. So you've basically got these two completely different philosophies clashing head-on. Compass is championing innovation and giving sellers more choice. Meanwhile, NWMLS is defending its established system, arguing it's what's best for the market as a whole. Let's hear it straight from the source. Compass CEO Robert Refkin basically says, look, an agent's #1 legal duty is to their client, the seller, not to the MLS. He's arguing that if a seller wants a specific marketing plan, like a coming soon campaign, their agent should be able to deliver that without getting punished by what he calls a private company owned by brokerage competitors. Now, as you can imagine, NWMLS has a very different take on this. They argue their rules are actually pro-consumer and pro-competition. Their logic is that by making every single listing available to everyone at the same time, it creates a fairer, more transparent marketplace for all buyers and all agents, not just a privileged few. And in the actual lawsuit, Compass really lays it all out there. They're not just saying it's a bad rule. They're claiming it actively harms homeowners by taking away their marketing choices. They say it stifles innovation, unfairly benefits old-school brokerages, and here's the big one, that it amounts to an illegal monopoly. Okay, so with these two sides throwing heavyweight punches, why did the judge let the case move forward? This is super important to get right. The judge did not pick a winner. He didn't say Compass is right or that NWMLS is wrong. Judge Jamal Whitehead basically broke it down into 3 key thoughts. First, he said that Compass made a plausible argument that these rules don't just hurt Compass, but they could be harming competition across the entire market. Second, he saw that the rules could be stifling innovation, preventing new players from shaking things up. And third, he recognized that this is exactly the kind of potential monopolistic behavior that antitrust laws were created to investigate. And the judge went out of his way to make this crystal clear himself in the ruling. He literally wrote that his decision should not be read as having any opinion on who will ultimately win. All he's saying is, there's enough smoke here to investigate if there's a fire. The case deserves to be heard in court. So where do we go from here? Well, the path is now officially paved for a huge legal showdown. but you're going to have to be patient because this isn't happening tomorrow.
If you look at the calendar for this thing, you can see we're in for a long haul. The lawsuit was first filed back in April 2025. Now that the judge has denied the motion to dismiss, we're into the long discovery phase, where both sides gather evidence. And the main event, the actual trial, that's not even scheduled to start until February of 2027.
And that brings us right back to the million-dollar question at the heart of all of this. This case is about so much more than just one rule in the Northwest. It's really a battle for the soul of real estate. Will technology, innovation, and a seller's right to choose their own path win the day? Or will the established, centralized system prove that its way really is the best way for everyone? It looks like we're all going to have to wait until 2027 to start finding out.